Hi, everyone. I just am sticking this in the front of the podcast. I remembered an announcement, a fairly big one, that I forgot to mention when I recorded the podcast earlier. At the end of the podcast, I'll be talking about my 2014 knitting goals that I had set and how I did with them. And I just wanted to mention that I will be bringing up, putting in the Ravelry group a thread where you can all share what your goals were for 2014 and how you did compared to them. But I also wanted to announce that I am going to do a knit along that will last the whole year next year, where we'll have till the whole month of December to post in the thread what your goals are for 2015. And then during the year next year, as you complete these goals, you'll post a picture of your project in a prize thread. And each goal that you complete gives you a chance to win a prize. So I will donate a prize for the knit along for next year, and I'll be accepting donation for prizes if anybody wants to donate a prize. But I thought this would be a great way for us all to share our goals, hold each other accountable, cheer each other on, and have a knit along that's not, not making you feel rushed. You have the whole year to achieve your goals. So think about what you want those to be for 2015, because I'm going to start the thread shortly after the next podcast, and make them realistic. And you could put some stretch goals in there. So goals that you think might be kind of difficult for you to achieve, and maybe we'll have them count as an extra chance to win. I don't know, but I'll figure that out later. But anyway, it was an important announcement that I had meant to make, and it totally slipped my mind. So I'm sticking it here in the beginning. And now back to the regularly scheduled. So, welcome to Hudson Valley Knits. I'm Amy, also known as Memers on Ravelry, and Memers66 on Instagram and Twitter. I just got my hair cut and colored. Do you like it? I wanted to start off by telling you I'm in a very, very special place today. This is actually a spot by the river that I grew up at. Near where I grew up. I grow up right here. But this is basically, I gotta stop saying that, basically. This is where my sister and I used to come every day after school with the dogs and do our homework and, take the dogs for their walk and hang out with our friends. And it's in Kruger's, New York. You might hear trains because I'm right by the Hudson line, which I guess is inevitable any place along the river here, because the Hudson line runs right along the Hudson River. This place is technically called Oscawana Park. It's in Kruger's, New York. And it's like a quarter of a mile, not even down the road from where I live. And this is where my dad would go fishing. This is where we used to play. This is where we used to party. Fix that so you can see a little more. And just move this too. I've been wanting to come down here for a while and record, just because this place is so special to me. It's not just where I used to play, it's where I used to go, like during difficult times. I would come down here and just sit by the water, meditatively, just sit and listen to the water lap up against the rocks, and it was very healing for me. Like I said, it's called Oscawana State Park, but it was, around the turn of the century, it was a very big estate called McAndrews Estate. And if you go on Facebook, I think I said this when I was walking up, there's a McAndrews Estate Facebook page. And you can see some pictures of what it was like years ago. And what it is now is just all overgrown woods. The house is not there. There's some remnants of some outbuildings, but maybe I'll take you through some of the trails that go through the old decrepit estate some other day. Right now, I'm on the point that's right by the river. And let me get my notes and I'll start with today's show. The senior love along, I wanted to tell you, I'm very happy to report that I have about 300 washcloths already, which is awesome and a lot more than I was hoping for. So thank you. Keep bringing them in. I actually went to the nursing home yesterday. Every day at 10 a.m. she said they have like a coffee hour, coffee social. And so I went there yesterday and I hung out with everyone for like an hour and a half. Made some friends. Really wonderful people. Some people weren't chatty. Some people were not very nice. You know, I guess cranky. But I was really glad to stop by and be able to visit. They were really surprised to see someone just pop in, but happy. And of course I brought my knitting. I didn't tell them about the washcloths, but I just wanted to, you know, meet them and not just show up on December 20th with washcloths and then never see them again. So this way I'll go a few more times before the washcloth day, which is December 20th, and give them a chance to get to know me. So I did that yesterday. Last weekend, I should save this for the end, but that's with the senior level on. That's where we are. Keep mailing them in. Like I said, the washcloth day is December 20th. And actually I brought it up to the directors of my department at work and asked if I could bring the washcloths into work and set them up in one of the meeting rooms, and then when if people had time, they could stop by and wrap up a couple of washcloths with ribbon, and they were totally fine with that. They thought it was a great idea. So on December 14th, any washcloths that you weren't able to tie up nice like a gift with some ribbon, my coworkers will be doing at work. So I thought that was really cool. And a lot of them have also volunteered to buy some ribbon and bring it in to help wrap. So that's really cool. The prizes, I've decided I will draw the winners of the prizes the week after I close the thread, which will be the last day of November. I'm going to close the thread to post your pictures. I did get the deadline to mail them in as November 30th, so I'm going to officially close the thread on the 30th, so you cannot post any more pictures. So get your pictures up if you haven't yet already and mail those babies in. The address is at the beginning of the chat thread, my address, so check it out there if you need the address. Okay, so that being said, senior level on, I don't have a lot of knitting, and I'll explain to you why. At least not a lot of, well, I have a lot of knitting progress. Might not be that interesting to you, but you'll get excited when I tell you why. So I brought in my whips. I'm going to start with the projects you've already seen. And let me see here. We got, now Mark's sweater. I'm ashamed to say it's not going to get done by his birthday. This is all I've gotten done since the last time I podcast 2 weeks ago. And like I said, you'll understand why. So this is the front, and it's, yeah, not much progress. Here come some people, fishing. So, but that's all right. Like I said, you'll understand why when I show you in a minute. What else do I got? I didn't bring Joe's chevron scarf because like I said, I have this new project that's been taking up most of my time. So, not much progress on that. There's nothing worse than inhaling a bug. I just inhaled a bug. That was gross. That's what happens when you podcast outside. All right. we go. Oh, this is my multi-purpose garment. And this brings me to another announcement. Guys, I have a knit-along going on. And check it, there's a thread for it. I haven't posted a finished object thread. This is a knit-along for the end of the year. Any podcast pattern, you get an extra entry if you use a podcaster's Indie Dyer's yarn. It has to be a podcaster though, the Indie Dyer, and also an extra entry if it was yarn or patterns that donated to Silly Fruit. So check out my Ravelry group for more information on the podcaster Sprinkled with Fruit Love knit along. So this is what I'm knitting. It's Emily from Fiber Towns pattern, multi-purpose garment. It's a cowl slash kind of shawl, shawlette, I guess you might say, but it can be bunched up like a cowl, or it can go over your shoulders like a. See, I think I have their fishing spot. That's why they're looking at me like that. Did you see the guys in the back? But I saw this in person when I met Emily at the New York Sheep and Wool Festival, and I really love it. It's going to be nice and soft too, because this is baby alpaca. This is Lorna's Laces. I want to say Harmony, not Harmony. Harvest yarn? Do I have a tag in here? I can never remember. Yeah. It is Honor. Lorna's Laces Honor. And the colorway is Turtle Rock. Yeah, and it is 70% baby alpaca and 30% silk. Love this. It's great for knitting at the movies, which I did do because we saw Friday night, my husband and I went and saw Mockingjay, the Hunger Games movie, and if you're a Hunger Games fan and you've seen the first two movies, you need to go see it. It's such a sad story though, but it's a great movie, and I did do some movie knitting, and I'm getting better at it. So let's see, here is the marker from my last podcast. And again, for 2 weeks, not much progress. Maybe 2 inches, but it's okay. I keep telling you, it's okay. I'm gonna move the marker now, lest I forget. And I'm gonna leave this out and talk. What else we got in here? Okay, so I told you I had resumed knitting my homespun socks. So here's the second sock. Like I said, my travel knitting. The repeat got a little messed up here because I had to ditch some of the green color because I messed up with my spinning. And yeah, so it won't line up with the first sock, but that's okay. This is going really well. The gauge is much smaller than the other sock because the yarn is a lot thinner, because I spun it different. I spun it more consistently because this was the second 2 ounces, and I guess I had gotten a little better at doing it consistently, whereas the first game was a lot thicker and a lot more inconsistent. And I chain plied this after I took the chain plying class at Rhinebeck with J.C. Boggs Faulkner. And the chain plying came out really good. There were a couple of spots that were way too twisted. I hear a train coming. I don't think it's gonna get too loud. It doesn't blow its whistle here because there's no crossing, but we'll see. Anyway, so this I've been working on a little bit. Been carrying it in my purse. Here's the first sock again. Maybe you can see the difference in the gauge, I don't know. But this sock, here's the 2 lined up, and you can see how I'm missing some green. And I know it's not gonna line up. But Yeah, I didn't finish up the first sock because I don't know how much yarn I'm gonna have, and I want them to be fairly even. So I'll finish up the first sock when I get an idea of how far I can go with the second. So that is the socks. I did get a little spindle spinning done, and I'll show you that. So I'm on the first ounce still, and I am working on just the solid gray. And I can't, this is spun right round fiber. It's Angora and wool. Let me see, let me get the bag out, refresh my memory. I haven't done much spindle spinning, but I have done some. So what I did is these were like gradient poonies. They were white, then light gray, and then the dark gray, which you see here. They are merino wool and Angora. And I spin all the white, then I spun all the light gray, and now I'm spinning the dark gray. And on the round is who made the poonies. Great job, highly recommend. I know she just had a baby, so I don't know, how much she'll be putting up in her shop, but she seems to be booking along. I follow her on Instagram, and I see she sells hand spun yarns and hand dyed yarns and her poonies, and she's still got a pretty good shop. So that is most of my whips. Here is the new one. Now this won't look very exciting, but the project is. My knitting group, we meet once a week in Peekskill. We're Peekskill Knitting Group on Facebook. We have a little subgroup that we call Knitting Ninjas. I have to admit, I haven't participated much. I did help distribute, but I didn't knit towards a yarn bombing that we did in Peekskill last year. We had lots of fun going out at night like little stealth ninjas and decorating the town. And it turned out that the city of Peekskill loved it, and they kind of found out through the coffee house that we have our knitting groups at that who we were, and asked us to yarn bomb the gazebo in the center of town. And they asked us to do it before the holidays, and they gave us some money towards the yarn. So because there's a deadline, and because it means so much to some of the other ladies in the group that really get a kick out of doing this stuff, I agreed to knit for one of the pillars. So here's what I got done so far. I started with purple, then I got the mixed, and then I did this bright aqua, and now I'm doing another mix. I have to knit this for 80 inches. 80 inches. And they're asking for it by December 6th, which just isn't going to happen. We told them we would try, but we didn't make any promises. So, and there's only so many of us. And that's what I've been working on most of the time. And that's why I haven't got much work done on anything else. But I'll tell you, it gets mighty boring just knitting this garter stitch with this acrylic yarn. And I can only do it for so long before I have to knit on something else, like those socks or, Mark's sweater or something else. Yeah, so that is the biggest work in progress. I can't wait to share with you guys how the yarn bombing comes out. We're all real excited about it, and we're thrilled they asked us to do it. And everybody's coming up with their own unique design for their pole. We have tons of yarn we were able to get through this the grant from the city. So I promised lots of pictures and maybe even some footage of the Yarn Bombing Stealth event from the Knitting Ninjas. Alright, so those are my works in progress. Now I'm going to show you my one and only finished object, which is my Woolly Wormhead hat. This is her 2014 mystery hat pattern, and I love it. Hedgehog fibers, and I'll be getting more of this yarn. I love the color. The color is Wildflower. It's a one-of-a-kind color, so I don't know if you'll find it. I got it 2 years ago at Vogue Knitting Live in New York, and it is fantabulous yarn and beautiful colors. I love all her colors, and I actually signed up for her club, so I'll get 3 skeins from her, and I signed up for her fiber. So that is it with the knitting stuff. This is actually what I spent most of my time knitting on. I got this hat done in like a little over 2 weeks. That's pretty darn good. So that and this. Anyway, what I wanted to talk about this week, I was going over my notes from some of my other older podcasts from last year. Now I know there's not a lot up on iTunes, but I actually, oh shoot, excuse me. I started podcasting I think September of last year, well over a year ago, and I was just putting it up on YouTube. I think it was December 1st or so where I actually got it on iTunes and started a Ravelry group. So I'm kind of at my 1-year anniversary, but really it was a while ago. But one of the podcasts I did in the way beginning was 2014 goals, and I was going over my goals to see which ones I was able to meet and which ones I kind of failed on. And I also wrote down, but not finalized yet, and I'll just kind of discuss them, some goals for 2015. So what I did determine, though, here's my goals, and I put actually smile faces and frowns, depending on if I finish them or not. I did overextend myself a little bit, but I honestly, I haven't shared much, but I have had a really rough year, personal family stuff rough year, and new job, lots of extra work rough year, combined together made for a pretty stressful year for me. I can't even begin. So anyway, that plus the tall order of goals I set for myself, and one unexpected project kind of made me a non-goal achiever. I don't know. I'm not going to kill myself over knitting goals, though. So my goals for last year, the first one was to spin more consistently. I began spinning in August of 2013. So it's been about a little over a year, and that's when I got my Hanson mini spinner. And earlier this year, during their tent sale in June, I got my Lendrum. I also started spinning furiously on my spindles when I started discovering Poonies. And over time and through the Craftsy classes and my beautiful spinning group help, and the chain ply class I took at Rhinebeck with JC Boggs Faulkner, I can safely say I am spinning pretty consistently, and I'm trying to get to the point where I can kind of control or determine what my spinning will be like, rather than just, wing it and see how it turns out. Like if I want a thick worsted, I can get a thick worsted, or if I want a thick woolen spun, I can get a thick woolen spun, as well as very fine. I want to get to the point where I can, manage twists and things in a more decisive way. But that's for 2015. So let me just move on. I've had to finish finishing Mark's sweater as one of my goals, and obviously I haven't done that yet, and I don't know what's wrong with me. I haven't knit any sweaters this year, and I don't know why. I just can't get myself to finish his sweater. It shouldn't be taking this long, and he's been Mr. Patient. So that is not done. May get done by the end of the year, but definitely not by his birthday. I had also, in my realistic goals, I had to knitting the pumpkin ale sweater as a goal, finishing the Ursula cardigan by Kate Davies. I wanted to do this year, never got done. 6 pairs of socks, easy peasy. I think I got 7 done. Carson blanket by Rami Hill, not done. Started but not done. What I didn't do, have on my list of goals but ended up doing, which did take a lot of my time, was knit a pie shawl for my aunt. That was in the beginning of the year, and I finished it in the summer. I knit her the pie shawl by Donna Dracunis, and it came out beautiful. I wanted to knit something special for my aunt because her and my uncle, besides the fact that I love them, they helped my kids out a lot when helped pay for my kids' college, because I didn't have a lot saved. I didn't have anything saved for my kids' education, and having been a single mom most of my adult life, didn't have the money to really save. I was living paycheck to paycheck, and they, who have no children of their own, came in and paid for about half of their college education. So I really wanted to do something very special for her, and it's kind of for my uncle too, just because it delights in seeing Aunt Janet happy. So I made that for her, and it was wonderful, and it was great to see her happy face when she opened it. So that was not on my goals, but that took a lot of time, and it was wonderful to make. I want to do another pie shawl. Okay, another goal. I had to publish my Against the Current and Guardian of Air shawl, which I did. Both of my patterns are written up and published. I had as a goal not to buy any new stash except for Vogue New York and Rhinebeck, and that was a big joke. That, of course, was an epic fail. Stretch goals were to publish all designs. I still have a couple of things I designed that I plan on actually publishing as free patterns because they're pretty simple, and I do want to get some free patterns. But I didn't get those written up yet. They will be fairly simple, but I haven't done it yet, and then I'll have to have them tech edited. Creating new designs. I did create one new design this year. I had also wanted to knit up the Viajante shawl by Martina Bem. That didn't happen. Didn't even start it. I wanted to knit sweaters for my kids. Didn't even get there. And that's it. Those were my goals for 2004. Boy, the tide's coming in. Let me show you. The sun's setting too. Isn't that gorgeous? So beautiful here. Sorry. Okay. I'll get that sunset for you. I'll get that on film. So those were my 2014 goals. I would say I was 50% successful. I got some big things done, and I got some things done that kind of came up unexpectedly. But the most important thing is my knitting, as usual, gave me joy and gave other people joy throughout the year, and that's what matters. So the next podcast, I plan on having my 2015 goals finished, and I'll go over that with you. So, you know what, guys? That's it. That's it for knitting, and I just have a little bit of chatting. So the past 2 weeks, It's been really cold here, but no snow, thank goodness. And last weekend, my son and I went hiking up this mountain called Anthony's Nose, and I'll put some pictures of that at the end. And today it's actually starting to get cold now because the sun's going down, but today it was a gorgeous day in the 50s, beautiful, warm, sunny day. So, I mean, this is really great considering it's November. Even though it did get pretty cold, it didn't go below, like, I think the lowest was like 25 degrees, which is cold, but you know, it's not like last year where we were getting 9 degrees. And it's not like poor Buffalo, New York, who is buried under 8 feet of snow. So I did have a great time, and like I said, I did get to visit the nursing home, which was really awesome. Saw the movies with my husband, and that was great too. I also saw, besides Mockingjay, we saw Interstellar. We both saw it twice. And I went once with my husband, and then I took my kids to see it. I'm gonna see. But it was a really great movie. It's really long though, and I had forgotten my knitting. I could have been knitting on this, and I had forgotten it. I knit on it with one of them, but the first one I forgot my knitting, which was I was very upset. So great movies, both of them. I highly recommend them. I will try and keep my podcast outside as long as possible, but you know, just December's coming, and it is going to get colder and colder, and I don't know if I'll be able to consistently podcast outside, but I will try as long as I can. And I guess now I'm just going to do a little panoramic, and I'll kind of show you a little more of this area that I used to come to as a kid. And a little more of this beautiful sunset. Look at this. Isn't that gorgeous? I love it here. So that is the beautiful sunset, and there is kind of like where we used to lay and do our homework. And then there's the trails that go back to the road. There's not much to see, but I'm going to say goodbye for now. I want to thank you for joining me, and I hope to see you next time. Ciao, ciao for now. Do you hear all the birds in the swamp? Alright, so I hiked up Anthony's Nose with my son, and we're about almost there. There's the trail, but I wanted you guys to see what it's like. So we're almost there. You see the trail. Coming up. And here is the beautiful and majestic Hudson Valley. It's so lovely. We're not the only ones that think so.
I know people have gone to bars where it's just like quiet. What? Yeah.